Hi, my name is Shannon Kaupp and I am from Pittsford, New York. This is where I grew up, but I was always out adventuring and learning about the world. By the time I was 15 years old, I had already been to all 7 continents. Upon receiving my acceptance letter into NUin Greece, I was so excited to have the opportunity to study in a different country, as this seemed to fit me. However, this time I would be studying and volunteering, which was far from a vacation. I was ready for it, but everyone else's response was, "Why would Northeastern send you abroad your first semester?" I never knew exactly how to answer that question. 3 months later, after a semester in Thessaloniki, I finally have an answer. I departed the U.S. on September 17th for Thessaloniki, not knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. I studied at the American College of Thessaloniki, taking the general courses required for my behavioral neuroscience degree. Everything was fairly easy to keep up with, as the professors were very understanding. This left my weekends open to explore the area and take trips outside the city. Starting the second weekend, I climbed up Mount Olympus and went canyoning down waterfalls with a group of girls from the school. We explored downtown by bus, and it only took one time getting on the wrong bus to learn the system. The Metropolitan Hotel was nothing like home, although they were very warm to welcome us. It made me miss the life I'd lived before heading off to Greece. Over the summer, I brought home an abandoned puppy who I've missed every day. I was always comforted, though, knowing all the stray dogs around the city wanted to be loved as well. They made me feel at home, and it was good to see they were still well fed even though Greece was in a period of crisis. Back in America, we had all heard about the economic crisis in Greece, but I never thought that it would affect us. Along the bus route to downtown, lots of shops are abandoned and covered with graffiti. This was my first clue that something was wrong. Later on, we started hearing about downtown riots and protests going on, so of course we all wanted to see this. The protests really affected us when the buses and taxis decided to go on strike. This is when it turned from thinking they were fun to witness to realizing how much of an impact it really had on the community. During this time, lots of places need all the help they can get, so we were all assigned a service learning site. Mine was at Papanikolaou Hospital, and they loved having the help. All of their services are free to all patients, so sometimes they aren't as professional as they could be. The strangest to me was that they smoke in the hospital. My first day was rough as they spoke Greek and we spoke English. One patient was in the last stage of his terminal cancer, another was dead on arrival, and one doctor explained this by saying, "We move to refrigerator." I also worked in the surgery unit doing endoscopies with the doctors to remove stones from the liver and gallbladder of patients. I also got to watch a procedure connecting the left and right abdominal arteries because one of them was clogged. Another day I was in the plastic surgery unit helping change bandages on burn patients. In the post-surgery recovery unit, I got to take my first blood draw on a patient. I was so nervous, but being in my scrubs, the patients just thought of me as another doctor. You never knew what your day would look like, and some days I found myself on the floor after blacking out. But I absolutely loved it and honestly think this is what made my entire experience in Greece worthwhile. I also helped out on a farm by picking the olives off their trees. As a group, we picked about 500 kilograms worth of olives to be made into oil. I was glad to help them out as it took us way less time than it would have taken the couple to finish all the trees themselves. I spent more time to tour Greece outside of Thessaloniki by taking a 3-day sailing trip around the Aegean Sea. We went to the Sani Resort in Halkidiki and then over to the base of Mount Olympus. Our captain, Demosthenes, showed us how to pull the ropes, let out the sails, and steer the ship using a traditional compass. We swam in the water, and it was an amazing break from the real world where I didn't have to care about anything. One of the weekends, I spent in Cyprus with Anastasia. We stayed up at the gorgeous Coral Beach Resort, and down on the beach we signed up to go parasailing. It was amazing floating over the water in the Mediterranean, realizing I was actually doing this my freshman year of college. We also took a weekend drive to Athens to see the Acropolis and learn about ancient Greece. We took a walk back in time around the Parthenon, trying to realize what the area would have looked like 1,000 years ago. On the way there, we stopped in Delphi to see a more natural view of Greece as opposed to the inner cities of Thessaloniki and now Athens. The only other way to do this was to go for a run up and down the boardwalk. I could listen to the waves and look up at the sky and think I was back where I grew up outside of the city. It's always so accomplishing to get to the end and look back down and see the White Tower in downtown Thessaloniki. I couldn't wait to get back and tell everyone what I had done my first semester. I not only got some of my general courses out of the way, but also got to see more of the world. On top of that, I got to get my passport stamped a few more times along the way.
Take the girl, get a map and pick video.